Welcome back to the Motovlog Virginia channel. Today we're going to learn something about these motovlogging helmets and how to set them up. I know I've watched many of them to learn how to do mine, and I've tried several different ways, and we're going to explore all that in this video. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. So the first thing we're going to talk about, choosing a helmet. You probably really don't need to do that. You choose a helmet that's going to be safest for your cranium, not what's best for you and your motovlogging. I know AGV has a great name, so I checked out, their helmets and found out they have one of the lightest. I think it was the lightest. There's like a K6 or a K7, I forget which one. But it was like 2.7 pounds, ultra light. It's like nothing. And I knew after watching, several other YouTube videos about motovlogging that I'd want probably a light helmet, because what I wanted to do was not have to depend on short journeys, short amount of recording time using those GoPro batteries. Yeah, these may last you, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50, if they're new and fresh. And when I'm going on a ride, I'm going to be out for a couple hours and I want to capture everything. I leave my stuff run completely, 100% of the time. I don't want to miss nothing. And I can't stop. Especially if I'm riding with other people, I can't stop and say, hey guys, gotta wait, gotta change my battery, So I do the external battery, which I have one right here. This is one I set up. I used some, so I didn't have to glue it, but I did use a 3M pad that you use to stick these mount accessory things onto your helmet or whatever, or this battery, in this case, and a couple zip ties so that it's not too permanent. But then I did this one as well. This one I actually used the JB Weld, and these are all, you're able to take these off. I'll show you the whole system here. That's what we're here for. JB Weld. Not a problem. Got a sticky pad under there and a nice thick layer. That way I can move and remove, alternate between two. These will last pretty much all day. And just run a cord, which I use this I'll put all this in the description, okay? But this is this Swimmer Ears putty. Right there, Max. Earplugs. You can order this stuff right off Amazon. It's not a problem. This one has 6 pair. And, they're about this big each piece. Comes in a nice little plastic case. It's called silicone putty. And let me tell you, that stuff, I can use all my equipment in the rain, because as you know, once you open this door and you get the insert made to plug your stuff in, it is no longer waterproof. Water gets in there, you're done, right? So I always take a little extra care, and I'll use some of that silicone. I'll use a little bit of it around in here. I'll put some up on top of here. I'm going to make sure that when you plug in your GoPro, you can seal up all these areas for waterproofing. I have gone to the extent as well as using this putty stuff and wrapped it around the microphone, wrapped it around my power right here as well, and packed that in full of the silicone, okay? If it's raining, you're going to need those places where water can get in and possibly short out your system. Okay? And these batteries. I don't know how waterproof these batteries are. Okay, I'm not here to tell you. This here sits upright like this on my helmet. Okay? And I plug this one right here into the bottom, whichever way it goes. There we go. I putty it. Make sure it's sealed. Come up all the way around. Make sure it can't catch water and go in there and get wet. These are charging ports up on top. Okay? Put some putty across the top of that. All right? That's no problem. This battery's a little different. Doesn't have nothing on the top, but I do see some on the side. I make sure I put some putty over that. Just use your El Brano and putty up with Max. This stuff is great. It's very cheap. You know, for $6, $8, $10, you can get a ton of it. Last you a long time. I use it over and over, you know, so as long as I don't lose it, it's pretty good. It does get a little old and dirty after a while. As you can see, this one is pretty dirty. Your fingers are touching it all the time and it's exposed to all the elements. So yes, putty up. Well, the next thing you'll want to do is make sure you're able to pull the cheek pads out, maybe even pull the top cranial part off, because I use the Purple Panda mic, and as you, in fact, I have it right here. Got the nice dead cat and everything on it. As you know, if you've ever used one before, it comes with quite a bit of extra cord that you don't need. So you got to try to neatly wrap it up. You know, use a little piece of tape, use a little small Velcro thing. Use whatever, you know, you think will work well in your helmet. Or not use any at all. Just disperse it out evenly so you don't have no lumps that hurt you in your head later. I don't have any, and it doesn't bother me one bit. And right in here, I was able to find a nice little spot, yep, to put my mic. It has a little small hole in the foam area that just happens to work perfect with this helmet. And it sits, you know, right about here where I can talk, and picks me up nice. Very little wind noise, if any. I never get no popping like everybody talks about. The only time I got popping is when I started to split the input or output, whatever it is, because I wanted two inputs. I wanted to have one up on my ears so you could hear if I was talking to somebody. That would be where one mic would be located, and I'd put that where my Cardo. When I turn my Cardo on, you got two earphones or headphones, whatever you call them, right there on each side that you mount those in. I'm not doing the Cardo video, not today anyway. And so you put a mic real close to that, and that way you get a phone call, or you're listening to something you want, you know, your viewers to listen to. You can pick that up too. That splitter worked good. It just doesn't work when you start going high speed. I start getting a snap and a pop. I don't know. So I don't use that very much anyway. What I do is not that important that I need to record it. So I don't do that. So anyway, I get my mic put in where I want it. I might get some Velcro strips and stick those on the inside of my helmet, and then put the other piece of the Velcro over top to hold my wires in place. That's something you can do, you know. And then I have to have a power cord to run to my battery. And what I do is I just run it simply right around the outer edge of the seam right here. I'm sure you could put it inside your helmet and just run it right out the back and go up as well. It doesn't matter. You can be creative on this. Do what works best for you. That's pretty simple. You know, lots of people have different ways of doing the same thing. Do what you like. You're not going to know until you start vlogging and figuring out what you do like for yourself. Even on the front here, I got what I can take in and out, and sometimes this will get a little loose. Here was another little tip. Throw a couple pieces of masking tape in the back of it here, and that'll take up a little bit of the slack so that it doesn't become so wobbly and stays nice and secure. My lens stays pretty well straight. I use a center mount specific for this helmet. Here's my line. That little bit is not that big a difference. If you're really methodical and anal about things, go ahead. You can get some more of these pieces and you can offset and then set your stuff up to be perfectly straight. I did that. I don't like it. The more pieces and parts, the more chance you have to wobble. These have great stabilization. It's not too bad, but I just don't want anything. I want to keep things simple. That's what I found works for me. And it pretty much shows my hands fairly even out on the motorcycle. Who really cares? If that's all you watch my video for, is if you can see my hands out there, well, maybe find other people to watch so you got that groovy looking view you want. But I get it for the most part. It's just not, like I said, maybe perfect. Anything else you need to attach to your helmet? Use these strips of Velcro. That's all I do. I glued on some Velcro onto the adapter, which is a GoPro adapter, about $50. You're going to have one of these for the, well, I think the 5s, the Hero 5s on up. I just throw that right on there because it works there for me. All my cords right here. It's got my power cord, and I got my microphone cord. Bam, I'm ready to go. Plug that into my camera, seal this up, make it watertight. I am good. I do use one of these little exterior cases, okay? And that's where you want to put some of that ear putty again. Yeah, the Max. When you leave these inside your camera and you're using an external battery, usually through the winter time, never a problem. Not even in the summer. Depending where I put my extra view camera, sometimes that'll get hot, you know, from the sun and riding in the summer. Remove this. Remove this out of your GoPro. When using external battery, batteries generate heat. These GoPros, as you know, do not like heat. They'll shut off on you. So, very rarely will they shut off with just this hooked up. I've used them inside for hours and hours, and that had no problem with them. They still get hot, but they won't shut off and interrupt your recording. So that was a good tip. That's something I learned. And if you're going to do multiple shooting and turning your GoPro on and off, your files are gonna read a little different when you go to download them on your computer or however you use them. Dates won't be correct and things like that because you took the internal battery out. So every time you hook up an external battery, you plug it in, go into your settings if you like, and hit time and date and reset it. That way you got the brand new time and date going, and then you're good to go. But anytime you shut it off and go turn it back on, it's going to be off. So you got to remember to do that every time. I don't find it too important. So there you go. If you got any questions or any advice for me, you know, use that old comment section, okay? You know, never hurts. I could use a few comments, likes, complete views of the video, you know, things like that to help this channel grow. So if you're really not that interested in it, but you like Motobomb, just turn the video on, let it run, go do something else. Yeah, help me cheat. Anyway, I think that'll be it for today. And it was a pleasure making this. Hope it's helpful. Have a good day. Motobomb out.